Good morning and welcome to WCAT Chats. We're your hosts for today. I'm Alex.
I'm Carson.
And today's topic is the Westminster Theater. We're really excited to be hosting you for the first time today. And we have special guest Celeste Roselli with us today to talk to us about their upcoming play, Little Women.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming. So, not many people, at least Carson and I, don't know much about Little Women. So if you want to give us a little background on what the play is actually all about.
Yeah, totally. So Little Women, the play we're doing, is a play by Kate Hamill. It's based off the book by Louisa May Alcott, which follows the four March sisters growing up during the Civil War. And they're all kind of aiming to be unique and independent people during this really strenuous time for both the U.S. and for women in general. And especially chronicling one of the sisters named Jo, who is a kind of direct fight to the stereotypes of women at that period. She wants to be a writer, she wants to make her own money, she doesn't want to get married. And so what Kate Hamill has done with this play is that the Louisa May Alcott book was obviously meant to kind of challenge role of women during this time period, written in the late 19th century. And this play is only a few years old. And so it's kind of taking that same goal of trying to challenge societal roles and even gender roles by kind of accentuating the values of each of the characters while still making them like apply to modern day.
Yeah.
So with the production, obviously we are aware that you have quite a small cast for when we think of a play. How have you been attacking, because obviously you have four sisters, so that takes up a decent chunk of the cast. How have you been attacking kind of dividing the roles? And
Yeah, so that's a good question. So it is a much smaller cast than a lot of shows I've been in specifically. Like most of the shows I've been in have been larger musicals. This is definitely the smallest cast. And while I would say it's kind of maybe more challenging during production, obviously there's a lot more lines and scenes with smaller people. Like you have to just kind of be on stage for more time with the focus on you. There's also amazing opportunities that come with it. In addition to kind of having a smaller cast, the audience can connect more with each of the characters. There's a lot more opportunity for character growth, but also just from a cast perspective, it's been amazing to get to bond with such kind of a tight-knit community. And we've only been rehearsing for a little more than a month. It's a really short turnaround, but it's just having that small cast has made incredible opportunities for friendships and for inside jokes within the cast. It's been great.
And we noticed in the cast list that not all of the roles are all women. Some of them are men.
Yeah.
What does that really mean for Little Women?
Yeah, so there are some male roles within the story. There's Lori, which is Jo, one of the sisters' best friend, and eventually husband and fiance to Amy. There is Mr. Brooks, who is the eventual husband of Meg, and Mr. Lawrence, and some of the other adult male characters. And what's interesting is that even though, there are male characters in a story that's often centered on the lives of women, their characters are very different. Kate Hamill tries not to have a stereotypical guy and a stereotypical girl. Lori and Brooks, for example, two of the main male characters, have very different approaches to their lives and who they want to be in society. We first meet Brooks at a ball where he is, being that kind of stereotypical gentleman and offering his hand to a lady. And we meet Lori hiding in that ball because he doesn't want to be that part in society. And so I definitely think that having those male roles aren't just these are the guys for the show and they're all kind of the same. It definitely adds to that story and still brings up those themes of questioning societal roles.
Got it.
so with these questioning of societal roles, what do you think the community, the Westminster community, can take away from maybe the lessons they might see when they go and watch this play?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because at first glance, especially with the way that this play is set up, it ends a little earlier than the book itself, the narrative, it seems really sad, to be honest, at the first glance of the play. It seems like nothing is quite resolved. But I think what you can take away from that is that choosing independence and wanting to live your life in a way that will give you fulfillment and joy, and like kind of being the person you were meant to be, not trying to fit into some role, whether or not that's what society puts upon you or your family puts upon you, will always be worth that challenge and worth that hardship. It's often uncomfortable, and it often, has people trying to make their own ideas about who you are, about how you fit in. But it's ultimately worth it, and it's a better choice than trying to be someone you're not.
Definitely.
I think that sort of challenges like the theme of like comparison, like even in like everybody's like not just in the Westminster community, but like a lot in the Westminster community. Like everybody tries to compare themselves with others, and like how you said, like societal pressure is not like, you don't want that obviously, but sometimes to get better, I think comparison is good, but it also plays like a very big role in like your mental health, which I think sort of is like playing into Little Women, where like, they're not like these women growing up in a hard time. It's same here, like we're not growing up in like an easy situation. We're all coming to Westminster, we're all like facing academic struggles, but we're also like, we gotta try not compare ourselves to other. I feel like that definitely takes a toll on people.
I totally agree. And like taking that toll not only like internally, emotionally, like you brought up mental health, but also with our relationships. If you're constantly trying to compare yourself to your friends, seeing how your friends may be fitting into a role in, on campus or off campus, whereas you can't seem to find that role for yourself, or you, it can really put a strain on your relationships. That's a huge theme of Little Women itself, is how these kind of, when you're children, it's a lot easier to have friendships and familial bonds, but as you're growing up and finding who you are, independence, it's a lot harder to kind of find connection and to acknowledge that even though you and your friends, you and your family might be intrinsically different people, how do you still find connection? How do you still have kind of emotional stability? So yeah, that's definitely a big theme in the play as well.
And do you think having such a small cast helps like keep that alive, like that like stability alive?
I totally agree. I think that having the small cast is, there's a lot of emotional opportunities that come with that. Like we can make really close bonds with each other and then act with those on stage. Like every time we run through the show, it's very emotional for all of us. Like we're all completely giving it our all. But it's also been really important because we're dealing with a lot of fraught emotional relationships and tension and fights in the story, to know when we're checking in and checking out of the play, so that we can keep those friendships like between cast members, which sounds silly at first, but it's really true, is that when you're giving your all to a play, it's very easy to get absorbed in the kind of emotional turmoil of the characters and of their relationships. And so what our director, Miss Bailey, does, which I love, is that we always start rehearsal with a check-in, and we just kind of like symbolic of leaving our day behind, leaving who we were behind. We're in the story, we're in our characters. And then we, no matter if we're running 30 minutes over for rehearsal, we end each day with a checkout. Is that we're going back into the world, we're going back into these relationships between our cast members that may not match up with what our characters are specifically. So there's like a lot of opportunities, but it's also a challenge in and of itself, having that small cast with a very emotionally fraught storyline.
So you mentioned like obviously the emotional struggles, some of that stuff you've had to deal with through this production, but you also mentioned earlier that you've only had 1 month to prepare for this, and it's this Thursday, right?
Yeah, that is such a good point. It has been an incredibly quick turnaround. So we had auditions about not like that first Thursday, Friday, but the first full week of school. We had auditions for the play, callbacks, and then cast list was posted that weekend. That next Monday we started rehearsing. And so that was about the 3rd week of August, and now it is the 4th week of September, and we are, it's been about a month and a week for the entire play, and it's about running right now about an hour 15 to an hour 45 minutes. Which is pretty long, especially with such a small cast. It's like, I'm in every single scene except for one, and so it's like having to like be on and know all of your blocking and lines for that period of time, and I'm not alone in that. Like, so many of us are on stage for almost the entirety of the show. So that has been obviously a logistical challenge, but it's adding some excitement. You know, like we've all been, it's been easy to kind of, you didn't get lost in that like, oh, I feel like I'm doing this for nothing. You've always been able to see that light at the end of the tunnel, which sometimes can be hard when you're working with a longer production, especially one that like goes over if you have like a break in between. We've been in it from the first week.
And that's an hour and 45 minutes each day?
Oh, I meant the play itself, like runtime is running about hour 15 to hour 45 minutes. We've been rehearsing, we started like from the get-go from 3 to about 6 or 6:30, or 3:30 to 6 or 6:30, and now this week we're going till 7 or 8 every night, prepping, just because, I mean, there's so much that like, especially if you don't have a whole lot of experience with theater, you don't see, like running lights and mics and sound cues and costumes and like all of the tech that you just need so much time for. Even if you know all your lines, you know all your blocking, you're getting those acting beats, there's just so much that goes into the play itself, and turning like a bunch of actors who may be very in it, but turning that experience into a full production. And
so we had a question about like the rehearsal process.
Yeah.
What do you think has been like the most surprising part of the rehearsal process for Little Women?
That's
like
a really
that may differentiate from like your other previous plays that you've been in.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Ours would probably actually be that because I think it's been such a short time frame, I don't know if it's just the stress of that or it's small cast or a combination, but we've all been so on top of it from the get-go. Like we were off book around a week and a half ago, which is pretty surprising for theater. Usually like you're not off book till a day or two before the show. But so we've had this kind of week and a half to really work on like the acting beats and the emotional story that we're telling. And so even though it's a shorter time frame, I really think we've been less like stressed as a cast because we've been able to have so much more time working on our storytelling instead of just, oh my gosh, I need to know my lines, I need to know my blocking. I think the small cast really helps with that. But that's definitely been different from my other theater experiences, and I've really enjoyed it.
All right, so obviously it is this Thursday through Saturday.
Yes.
After Little Women wraps, what can we expect from the Westminster Theater in the future?
Yeah, so this is the fall play. In a few weeks in October, we'll have Mamma Mia, which is our fall musical. And so obviously that's based off the movie musical with songs from ABBA. It's going to be an absolutely amazing production, so you should come to both Little Women and Mamma Mia. And then we'll have auditions for our next set of performances happening in early November. And so that'll be the winter play, Eurydice, and also I will be actually student directing a table read of Inherit the Wind, that'll just be like a little small project that I'm doing. It's kind of a passion project I've just wanted to do for a while, where we'll just be spending like a day or two rehearsing it and then doing a run through and having a discussion after about how the themes of Inherit the Wind, which you might have read if you were here in 7th grade. Yeah, it was part of the Westminster curriculum, and now it's not anymore, and it's a very impactful play these days for kind of how science is added to journalism and media, and it's just very timely play. So we're going to do a read-through, and it's going to be a really fun kind of experience, very casual.
So when you mean a read-through, you mean just like sitting down and just having a nice and like enjoying the actual play, just talking through it?
It'll basically be, we'll have auditions, and we'll assign people roles for the play like you would if you were doing a full production, and we'll spend a day or two rehearsing, have people know their lines, know how they're going to say their lines, how they're going to interact with the characters in the scene. But we're not actually going to stage it on a stage. We're going to be sitting at a table reading through the play. And so it's more focused on the words and the play and the acting instead of like the full production. So it happens obviously a lot shorter time frame and leading to more of a discussion than like a full production.
So if someone were to want to do that, how would they get involved with that?
Yeah, so if you're interested in auditioning for being a part of the table read or for the winter play, Eurydice, then you can audition in early weeks of November. All of the information will be in WCAT updates, or you can email Ms. Morgans or Mr. Copeland. And there's still opportunities if you're interested in doing tech crew right now for Mamma Mia. because Mamma Mia happens in a few weeks. They're still looking for tech people, so if you're interested in doing any kind of stagehand work or lights or sound or, I mean, there's so much that goes into a production other than just the actors. And it's being a part of that team and like seeing that production kind of come to life, especially after you've put together it like piece by piece, is an incredible experience. And so I've been a part of tech before, it's amazing. But there's so many opportunities to get involved with Westminster Performing Arts, even if you don't love acting or singing or anything.
Who knows, we might see Carson out there someday.
I don't know about that.
To wrap,
you gotta be the tech person from Mamma Mia now. You're gonna be like...
He's got it. He's got it in him. To wrap up, we were just curious, what are your top 5 plays that you've ever been in?
Oh, okay, that's such a good question. So my number 1 would be Little Women. It's been an incredible experience, and I've just like, I love the cast so much. I love the play. I love our director, Miss Bailey. My number 1 is Little Women. My second is probably Matilda Jr., which I was in 8th grade. That was like such a fun role to play. I absolutely loved getting to do that as like my final show of middle school. Third, I would do Titanic, which I was in last year, which, contrary to popular belief, is not the story of Jack and Rose. It's not no Celine Dion, like, you know right here. I was actually written before the movie, and it's just about the story in general, and I played an English butler, and it was just like the most fun role ever. I was just like yelling at people. I had a bell. It was great. Very fun role. So that's number 3, and then 4 and 5. Number 4, actually, I'm wearing a shirt from it. I did a Broadway conservatory at the American Musical Dramatic Academy in New York, and we did a review of Merrily We Roll Along, which was amazing because I absolutely love that show. That's number 4. Number 5. There's so many shows I want to be in, but I haven't been in, so it's like narrowing down my options. Probably Into the Woods, which was my freshman year show, because I absolutely love the music, and at one point, it was double casted, so I got to be both the giant that kills the narrator and the narrator, which was very interesting. Not at the same time, don't worry, for different nights, but that was really fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for hosting me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. We're very excited to come and watch Little Women this Thursday through Saturday.
It's Thursday at 5 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. So be there.
And Westminster, don't forget the auditions coming up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.